Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi concludes historic and productive visit to Cyprus. Prime Minister Modi held delegation-level talks covering full spectrum of India-Cyprus relations. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi accorded with Cyprus's highest honour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi accorded Grand Cross of the Order of Macarius III, the highest honour of Republic of Cyprus. Prime Minister Modi dedicates honour to friendship between India and Cyprus. World leaders, including US President Francis Macron and Japan's PM, gather in Canada for the G7 summit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the way after concluding successful Cyprus visit. Iran says Parliament preparing bill to leave nuclear non-proliferation treaty as its rights under the NPT are not being respected. A very good evening to all the viewers joining us at this evening broadcast. To begin with the latest, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has concluded a successful, historic and productive visit to Cyprus and departed for Canada, where he will take part in the G7 summit. Adding a renewed momentum to further deepen India-Cyprus ties, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Cyprus President held a delegation-level talk at the Presidential Palace earlier today. Both the leaders discussed ways to deepen cooperation in newer areas of defence industry, connectivity, innovation, tourism and mobility, alongside traditional areas of trade and investments, counter-terrorism and culture. They called for enhancing connectivity between the two countries, which would strengthen the IMEC corridor. The leaders noted that Cyprus is an important partner for India in the European Union. Addressing the press meet with Cyprus President Nikos Christodoulidis, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that Cyprus and India share mutual respect for one another. After 2 decades, an Indian Prime Minister has visited Cyprus, and this is also an opportunity to write a new chapter in the India-Cyprus partnership.
अपनी साझेदारी को स्ट्रेटेजिक दिशा देने के लिए हम अगले 5 वर्षों के लिए एक ठोस रोडमैप बनाएंगे। रक्षा और सहयोग को और मजबूती देने के लिए द्विपक्षीय डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन प्रोग्राम के तहत रक्षा उद्योग पर बल दिया जाएगा। साइबर और मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी पर अलग से डायलॉग शुरू किया जाएगा। क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म के विरुद्ध भारत की लड़ाई में साइप्रस के सतत समर्थन के लिए हम बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं। आतंकवाद, ड्रग्स और आर्म्स की तस्करी की रोकथाम के लिए हमारी एजेंसीज के बीच रियल टाइम इंफॉर्मेशन एक्सचेंज का मैकेनिज्म तैयार किया जाएगा। हम दोनों सहमत हैं कि हमारे आपसी व्यापार और निवेश में बहुत पोटेंशियल है।
Prime Minister Modi also said that India and the European Union are committed to concluding a free trade agreement by the end of this year. Earlier this year, the India-Cyprus-Greece Business and Investment Council was also created. These initiatives will further strengthen business ties among the countries.
Technology, innovation, health, agriculture, renewable energy, क्लाइमेट जस्टिस जैसे क्षेत्रों में आपसी सहयोग पर भी विस्तार से बात हुई है। साइप्रस में योग और आयुर्वेद के प्रसार को देखकर हम उत्साहित हैं। भारतीय टूरिस्ट के लिए भी साइप्रस एक पसंदीदा डेस्टिनेशन है। उनके लिए डायरेक्ट एयर कनेक्टिविटी बनाने पर जोर दिया जाएगा। हमने निश्चय किया कि मोबिलिटी एग्रीमेंट को जल्द पूरा करने के लिए काम किया जाएगा।
Cyprus President Nikos Christodoulidis said that both the nations have historic friendship. The relations between Cyprus and India are based on shared historic experience and values.
आज हमने इस बात पे चर्चा की कि हम आपस में अपने व्यावसायिक और आर्थिक सहयोग को कैसे आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं। कुछ साइप्रस के लिए भी लाभदायक होंगे जो कि हम दे सकते हैं। हमारी एक जियो स्ट्रेटेजिक लोकेशन है जिसकी वजह से हम ईयू के जो बाजार है उसके प्रवेश द्वार के रूप में काम कर सकते हैं।
हमने अपने द्विपक्षीय सहयोग को बढ़ाने के बारे में भी बात करी और कई विभिन्न मुद्दों पर सिनर्जी के बारे में, रक्षा सहयोग, संकट प्रबंधन, पर्यटन और नवाचार और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के क्षेत्र में भी काम करना चाहते हैं और हम सहमत हुए इन सभी क्षेत्रों में एक साथ मिलकर काम करने ताकि हम विशिष्ट परिणाम दे सकें।
He also invited Prime Minister Narendra Modi for a European Union Council meeting that will be held in Cyprus next year. He recalled the heinous attack in Pahalgam and extended support to India's fight against terrorism.
हाल के बहुत ही कायराना जो आतंकवादी हमला हुआ है पहलगाम में, और मैं सार्वजनिक तौर पर एक बार फिर दोहराना चाहूंगा कि साइप्रस गणराज्य का पूरा समर्थन है भारत के साथ। हम भारत के साथ खड़े हैं आतंकवाद के खिलाफ उनकी लड़ाई में। आतंकवाद के हर रूप से लड़ना है। आतंकवाद को हम स्वीकार नहीं कर सकते और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, हम आपके साथ खड़े हैं। हम आपके अधिकारों की रक्षा करते हैं ताकि हम सुरक्षा प्रदान कर सकें आपके नागरिकों को।
Earlier, upon arrival at the Presidential Palace, Prime Minister Narendra Modi was accorded a ceremonial welcome. Prime Minister was warmly received by the President. Prime Minister also paid his respect to the first President of Cyprus, Archbishop Makarios III. Prime Minister also visited historical centre of Nicosia. Prime Minister was accompanied by the Cyprus President. Prime Minister Narendra Modi continues to garner global recognition for his statesmanship and soaring popularity on the world stage. In the latest honour, he has been conferred with Cyprus's highest honour, which is the Grand Cross of the Order of Makarios III. TD India's Mihir Maikuri brings you a roundup of the prestigious accolades Prime Minister received in recent months. Take a look.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, perceived globally as a visionary leader of the world's largest democracy, has been conferred with Cyprus's highest honour, the Grand Cross of the Order of Makarios III.
मैं ये अवार्ड भारत और साइप्रस के मैत्रीपूर्ण संबंधों को, हमारे साझा मूल्यों और हमारी पारस्परिक समझ को समर्पित करता हूं। सभी भारतीयों की ओर से मैं इस सम्मान को अत्यंत विनम्रता और कृतज्ञता से स्वीकार करता हूं।
This latest award is yet another feather in his cap. Over the years, Prime Minister Modi has been honoured by several countries around the world for his exceptional leadership and contributions. Some of these awards include: in July last year, PM Modi officially received Russia's most prestigious civilian honour, the Order of St. Andrew the Apostle. which was bestowed upon him in 2019. The award recognized PM Modi's distinguished contribution to developing a privileged strategic partnership between Russia and India and fostering friendly ties between the two countries. In November last year, PM Modi was conferred Nigeria's Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. This prestigious distinction made him only the second foreign dignitary to receive it, a testament to his global standing and leadership. In that very month, Guyana's President Dr. Mohammad Irfan Ali conferred upon Prime Minister Modi the highest national award of the country, the Order of Excellence, for his visionary statesmanship and for championing the rights of developing countries on the global stage. On the same day, PM Modi received Dominica's highest national award, Dominica Award of Honor, for his statesmanship, support to Dominica during the COVID-19 pandemic, and his commitment to strengthening India and Dominica ties. In December last year, Kuwait awarded PM Modi its highest national award. The Amir of Kuwait conferred upon Prime Minister Modi the Order of Mubarak Al-Kabir. The streak of global honors for Prime Minister Modi continues this year as well. Barbados conferred upon him the Honorary Order of Freedom of Barbados. The award was presented by the President of Barbados and received on the Prime Minister's behalf by Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margarita. On March 12, during its National Day celebrations, Mauritius conferred its highest civilian honor, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and the Key of the Indian Ocean, on Prime Minister Modi. In April, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received Sri Lanka's highest honor for foreign leaders, the Sri Lanka Mitra Vibhushana Award. It was the first time an Indian leader had received this award. At the core of these accolades and his global recognition as a leader lies PM Modi's vision, one dedicated to the welfare of all humanity and to peace and dialogue. Be it conflict, climate crisis, or the threat of terrorism, PM Modi has consistently conveyed a clear message: the world must come together and work collectively towards solutions. Mihir Makri's report for DD India.
Now, after successfully concluding the Cyprus leg of the three-nation visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to arrive in Canada early on Tuesday morning to attend the G7 summit. The G7 summit that kicked off on Monday is being held in Canada, bringing together the leaders of the world's most advanced economies like the United States, United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and Canada, along with the European Union, international bodies such as the IMF, World Bank and United Nations. India, Ukraine, Mexico, Australia, South Africa, South Korea and Brazil will also be attending the summit's outreach session on the 17th of June. DD India correspondent Amritpal Singh reports from Canada's Alberta. Take a look.
As the gathering of the leaders of arguably the most powerful 7 nations of the world, the Western powers, began here in the Rocky Mountains of Alberta, war continues to dominate the agenda of the G7. And it's not the Russia-Ukraine war alone, given the fact that President Zelensky has been invited to attend this time around. It is the latest Israel-Iran conflict that continues to dominate the agenda here in Canada. While Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney wants to push his agenda for strengthening global peace and security, building critical mineral supply chains and creating jobs, issues such as the US tariffs and conflicts in West Asia and Ukraine continue to dominate the summit.
Der Fortschritt des Irans.
This issue, Iran-Israel conflict, will be very high on the agenda of the G7 summit.
Am Freitag militärische Ziele.
And this is an issue on which there are deep divisions within the grouping on how the conflict should be brought to an end. All that the G7 leaders could agree upon is to issue a joint statement calling for de-escalation. Canada has already ditched the idea of a comprehensive joint communique and is expected to issue chair summaries instead. Apart from the G7 countries, leaders from India, Ukraine, Mexico, Australia, South Africa, South Korea and Brazil will be attending the outreach session on the 17th of June. Prime Minister Modi will be arriving on the evening of June 16th Canadian time marking the second leg of his three-nation tour after Cyprus. He will exchange views with the leaders of G7 countries, other invited outreach countries, and the heads of international organizations at the summit on crucial global issues, including energy security, technology and innovation, particularly the AI energy nexus and quantum-related issues.
This is the sixth consecutive time that India has been invited as a G7 guest country, which speaks for itself about India's importance in the world. There will be discussions on the sidelines within the G7 and also on the sidelines with all the invitee countries, with the G7 countries, especially on topics of energy security, innovation, emerging technologies, quantum, AI, things which affect all of us today.
The Prime Minister will also hold several bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the summit. Apart from India's participation in the outreach session of the G7, Prime Minister Modi's bilateral engagements with world leaders would be significant, especially the one with Mark Carney, which could well prove to be an opportunity to reset the ties between the two nations. With cameraman N.A. Sivakumar, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Alberta, Canada.
Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Up next, we'll get you an exclusive report on how India is making yoga a global treat. Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India Live. Now in United States, 3 people were killed during Utah's West Fest on Sunday. The police said 3 killed included an 18-year-old man, a 41-year-old woman and an 8-month-old infant. The authorities reported that the 2 groups held an argument, and when the police approached them, a 16-year-old fired a gun. The suspect has been taken into custody. The West Fest is an annual celebration commemorating the establishment of West Valley City and recognizing the various cultures represented throughout the city. And now an update on Ahmedabad plane crash. A total of 80 victims of the tragic plane crash have been identified so far through DNA sampling, including former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani. Of these, the bodies of 33 victims have been handed over respectfully to the relatives. The victims whose mortal remains were handed over were from Ahmedabad, Vadodara, Kheda, Botad and other places. A large team of forensic experts have been working to identify the bodies of those killed in one of the worst aviation accidents in India by matching the DNA with samples collected from their relatives. A solemn memorial ceremony was held at the sacred Jaya Sri Mahabodhi in Sri Lanka's Anuradhapura to honor the victims of the Air India flight AI-171 crash in Ahmedabad. The event featured the lighting of oil lamps and chanting, conducted under the guidance of most vulnerable Pelikama Himiratana Thiru. Organized as a gesture of compassion and solidarity, the ceremony reflected the deep spiritual and cultural bonds between Sri Lanka and India, in line with increasing engagements with the Buddhist Mahanayaks. Now, conflict escalates in West Asia, with Israel and Iran keeping the attack ongoing with each other, along with the missile strikes. Iranian missiles have struck Israeli cities of Tel Aviv and Haifa on Monday, destroying homes and killing several people. Meanwhile, the conflict fueled concerns among global leaders as they meet for the G7 summit in Canada. TD India's Abhishek Bose brings us more details in the next report. Take a look.
The visuals you see on your screen are from a major oil refinery in Israel's port city of Haifa. Thick smoke rose from the plant after Iranian missiles hit it before dawn. Iran launched attacks on both Tel Aviv and Haifa overnight, killing several people. The US embassy in Tel Aviv suffered partial damage after Iranian missile strike on the city. The embassy was closed on Monday following the attack. This happened a day after Israel attacked major oil depots and gas fields in Iran. Meanwhile, the Israel Defense Forces hit command centers linked to Iran's Quds force. Israel says these centers are used by Iran to attack Israel through its proxies. Israel's strikes, which began Friday, have targeted Iranian nuclear and military sites, killing top Iranian commanders and nuclear scientists. Both sides have continued their attacks since then. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian warned that Iran will respond even more strongly if the attacks continue.
Israel knows no boundaries. They intrude wherever they want with permission from America. We will give a powerful response to any aggression they may commit.
Israel sees Iran's nuclear program as a direct threat. These attacks aim to stop Iran from making nuclear programs. But Iran says its nuclear work is peaceful and denies any nuclear weapons ambitions. Global attention has turned to West Asia at a time when world leaders are meeting for G7 summit in Canada. US President Donald Trump said that he hopes Israel and Iran can broker a deal.
Well, I hope there's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens. But sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Israel has the right to defend itself, but stressed that a diplomatic solution is the best way to solve the issue in the long run.
Israel has the right to defend itself. Iran is the principal source of regional instability, and we've always been very clear. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We have voiced our strong concerns over Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program. A diplomatic solution remains the best way in the long run to address concerns about Iran's nuclear program.
This conflict is disrupting the global oil market and raising fears of a wider regional war, which could threaten the global economy. Abhishek Bose for DD India.
Iranian parliamentarians are preparing a bill that could push Tehran towards exiting the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or the NPT. Iran ratified the NPT in 1970. It guarantees countries the right to pursue civilian nuclear power in return for requiring them to forego atomic weapons and cooperate with the UN nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency. Moving on, as we move closer towards the 11th edition of International Day of Yoga, let's now take a look at this report that brings you a glimpse of how yoga reflects India's ability to inspire global harmony through knowledge, tradition and timeless values. Not only this, as a symbol of India's soft power, yoga is transcending borders and cultures, promoting peace, wellness and unity.
2014 में जब यूएन जनरल असेंबली में योग दिवस का प्रस्ताव आया तो रिकॉर्ड देशों ने इसे समर्थन दिया था। तब से लेकर आज तक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस के जरिए योग एक वैश्विक आंदोलन बन गया है।
India's ancient civilization has always stood for knowledge, wellness and harmony. From the discovery of zero to contributions in astronomy, surgery and philosophy, India has enriched the world for centuries. And among India's greatest gifts to the world is yoga. More than physical exercise, yoga is a way of life, offering mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual peace. Derived from the Sanskrit root yuj, meaning to unite, yoga integrates body, mind, and spirit. The United Nations General Assembly declared June the 21st as International Day of Yoga on the 11th of December back in the year 2014 as a result of relentless efforts of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, recognizing yoga's holistic approach to health and balance in life. And this marked a global shift towards preventive healthcare rooted in India's ancient wisdom. Since its inception in 2015, International Yoga Day has grown into one of the world's largest health movements, setting historic milestones each year. IFI Day or International Yoga Day 2024 saw greater engagement with approximately 24.53 crore participants. Outreach was extended through community radio, schools, Anganwadi centers, and government departments. Social media engagement reached over 3.48 crore people, while Indian embassies and institutions connected with more than 5.45 lakh individuals globally. These milestones reaffirm yoga's role as a global bridge for wellness and unity. India is sharing yoga with the world in many ways. It has set up Ayush chairs in universities abroad and runs workshops through Indian embassies. Digital campaigns and apps like Vibrate and digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing or Diksha help people include yoga in their daily lives, especially at work and school. Yoga is also a big part of government's mental health support for students. Through the Manodarpan program, yoga is combined with counseling to help students feel better. Since 2020, yoga sessions have been shown on 12 TV channels for children from class 1st to 12th. Not only this, yoga's popularity is creating new jobs and businesses too. More people are visiting places like Rishikesh, Kashi, and Kerala to learn yoga. Airports, hotels, and wellness centers now offer yoga facilities across India. As a symbol of India's soft power, yoga transcends borders and cultures, promoting peace, wellness, and unity. It reflects India's ability to inspire global harmony through knowledge, tradition, and timeless values. Deepika Mehta's report for DD India.
And that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.